All right, sports fans, what is up? We are back for another episode of The Fan in the End. I'm your host, as always, Steven Rychel. Joining me, as per usual, is my two favorite former athletes, Mr. Ben Troupe and Mr. Marvin Powell. Marvin, is it cold down there? What's up? What's going on with the hat today? Are you just trying to keep up with Ben?
I'm showing off the swag today.
No, trust. This is my son's hat. My son's 10 years old. When I'm in the garage, I keep one door open. It's a little bit chilly out here. I got a fan. I got a heater, but this is straight up because of the weather. I ain't trying to look cute. It is what it is. You know what I'm
saying? If his son does see this episode, he can be like, "Yo, Dad, man, I paid for this though. This is yours, but I paid for it." So it's kind of like both of ours. So I had to just utilize it today.
And it's crazy that they have this hours mentality when it comes to what they think you got. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're in my room. No,
yeah.
No, you have my DNA. So everything you're gonna do is me. Everything, no matter what it is.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, as we're talking about kids, I got to get out there. Obviously, I was letting you guys know as soon as we hopped on here. It's my daughter's 18th birthday, so happy birthday, Cheyenne. Want to make sure I get that out there. And also, since we're talking about kids, I got to let Ben know about this, right? So we're watching Monday Night Football. My son's down there. He's on like three-way with his friends, right? All of a sudden, I hear his friends talking. He's like, Ben Troupe is the best tight end that ever lived. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here, fellas? How do you know Ben? So apparently, because I guess my son always talks about our show, he said something with a friend. I don't know if they were trolling him, whatever, but I'm since Ben has all these cards over here, I'm gonna be nice and give one of his friends one of the autograph cards we have. To double off that, we are almost to that million views. We are 51K away. So I do believe before the end of the year we're gonna hit 1 million views here. So everyone listening and everyone tuning in and everyone engaging, keep doing what you're doing. We're gonna hit our goal here. I'm going to give away, some signed books, some signed autos, some signed photos. And I will be nice and give a little tidbit into that. One of those signed photos is going to be Ben's favorite safety, Brian Dawkins.
B-Dawk. B-Dawk is
B-Dawk autograph 8x10 is going to be in the mix.
Never played against Ronnie Lott. Thank God for that. Like, thank God for that. Ronnie Lott was when people do the whole who's the greatest safety of all time, I say, listen, this is how I look at it. You can talk about Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu. Troy Polamalu was nasty. Ed Reed was nasty. Brian Dawkins and John Lynch. If they having an all-safety luncheon, they cannot eat until Ronnie Lott walks in. You cannot eat yet. He ain't here yet. That's how it's a greatness thing. They'll be like, whoa, Ronnie ain't here yet. When Ronnie walks in, all y'all can eat. That's how I look, because this Ronnie Lott, did he cut his thumb off or something, man? Like, something he did. Cut his finger off.
He cut his, it was a pinky or something like that.
He told the doctor to cut it off in the middle of the game so he can
listen. Ronnie Lott was, he's Himothy. Once again, his middle name is Himothy. He's that guy.
Pro Bowl corner, Pro Bowl free safety, Pro Bowl strong safety.
Crazy, but he what's his name? Rod Woodson, I think, did that. I think he was a Pro Bowl corner and safety. Look, you got them hybrids. So when people, once again, to these youngins out here, I know y'all thinking y'all ain't never seen a safety like this, boy. No, you ain't never seen safeties like that. I respect what these players do now. Bigger, faster, stronger. They've been doing it for a long time. Long time. So don't you're the latest and greatest. I get it. But let's be respectful to the greats that came before you, because those are any era type players. You can put them in any era and they gonna ball.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Absolutely.
Now, since we're gonna get right into the some of those greatest talks, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up what's going on in the Hall of Fame realm, right? And we, me and Ben were talking about it a lot, during the off season. But the senior finalist lists have come out, and Mr. Roger Craig is on the list. He is a finalist for this year's class, 2026. Way long overdue. Elsie Greenwood made the cut for the seniors list. Kenny Anderson did. Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and And I said LC Greenwood, right? Yeah, okay. So that was your senior finalist for the NFL. I wouldn't care if Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick didn't get in this time, but I would very, very, very much like to see Roger Craig finally getting the nod there. One of the first running backs to do 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000-yard receiving. It's long overdue. We're gonna beat down this Hall of Fame voting thing a little bit today, but want to get everyone's thoughts on this one. Marvin, the names I just listed, LC Greenwood, Kenny Anderson, Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick. Who would you like to see get in from the that senior committee?
Absolutely, it needs to be Roger Craig first and foremost, in my opinion. I think the Kraft and Belichick absolutely deserve to be in. They should be. It should be first ballot, in my opinion. But just going back, I mean, Roger Craig's been retired for over 20 years now, and I remember the season he did 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving. That was significant. I don't think today, even though it's not often done, I don't know how many times you've seen that happen since he's done it. That's not something that we talk about enough. You know what I mean? Just the reality of what his place was in that great San Francisco 49er offense. Yeah, they had Jerry and they had Joe. Don't get me wrong. I get that. And Joe was the guy. But this is an old school. This is like Bill Walsh was the creator of the West Coast offense, which relied heavily on a run game. And with Tom Rafton at fullback and Roger Craig at tailback, I mean, that was really the core of their team. That was the foundation of their offense. And this guy, I mean, you really can't. You can't talk about Joe Montana or Jerry Rice in their championships without talking about Roger Craig, because he was such a big part of that whole organization and what he did in that offense. So no, the guy ran hard, ran with high knees. He ran the ball like an 80s running back should, but he was athletic enough to come out the backfield. I mean, people imagine a more physical Christian McCaffrey. That's how I would describe him, a more physical Christian McCaffrey. And I got nothing but love for Christian McCaffrey. Straight up baller. But Roger Craig was the first. He was the best, dual threat running back, I believe. You put him and Thurman up there in that conversation, Thurman Thomas. But Roger Craig he meant so much to the game and so much to that 49ers organization. He was it for Bill Walsh. To me, he was the foundation of that offense, and you got to put him in the Hall of Fame. He's first and foremost, in my opinion.
Ben, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything. I double down on what Marvin just said. Roger Craig isn't appreciated enough for what he was able to carve out for himself on that team. That it's only one football, and for him to still be their running game was so potent through him. I know that Ricky Waters, came through there later on. Roger Craig, 1,000 yards rushing is an accomplishment. 1,000-yard receiver, I did both, and he got Offensive Player of the Year with that many stars. So Roger Craig, when you talking about you talking about one-on-one with that linebacker, it was a wrap. Now Marshall Faulk, people are like, man, they ain't never said go back to Roger Craig, and he's not catching it for 3 or 4 yards. He's catching it running down the field. And I think I saw, I can't remember what game it was this year, Roger Craig was actually coming up to Christian McCaffrey. We appreciate today because of the yesteryears. Like people always, I ain't never seen, dude, Roger Craig was so good at football, man, it was embarrassing. That's back when Nebraska had the best running backs coming out of college, back to back to back to back. And people were saying, hey, man, when you coming from such a run-heavy team to go to a team like the San Francisco 49ers, how do you – let me show you what I can do. Let me show you what I can do. I mean, Steven, we was blessed enough to talk to Irvin Fryer. Look, that's back when Nebraska was putting them out. That receiver, at running back. And Roger Craig is one of those guys that just ask other running backs. Like, ask guys that's in the Hall of Fame, want to be in the Hall of Fame. When you say Roger Craig, they sit back in their chair like, oh, yeah, that dude right there. Because you don't need to have 10,000 yards to be a Hall of Famer. What did you do with the time you had? You take Roger Craig off that offense, it's way different. Guys gonna still do their numbers. But Roger Craig made it so that, man, the passing game is going to be potent because I'm so dangerous in the backfield. I got this guy, Roger Craig reminds you of when Thurman Thomas was at Oklahoma State, and they were saying, dude, they got this dude named Barry. You better hope Thurman Thomas don't get hurt. Could that dude behind him, Barry Sanders? Roger Craig was an incredible football player. Seems to be a very humble dude as well, because with so many things going on, name a game, they'll say Roger Craig is Roger. You're going to hear about Jerry. You're going to hear about Steve. You're going to hear about Joe. And I get it. That team was electric. But Roger Craig was every great team has one thing in common: a great running game. And he was great, not good. So yeah, I hope that Roger Craig gets in, because the Shady McCoys of the world, the LaDainian Thomases of the world, the Marshall Faulks and Christian McCaffreys of the world, it gives those guys instant credibility, because people appreciate it more, because you ain't the only one. When you're the only one, you're an anomaly. No way, ain't nobody else doing that. No, Roger Craig was doing it. Ask them linebackers during that time period, what was it like having to deal with that dude in the backfield when they just send everybody vertical and he's coming right there like, what's up now? The middle of the field is wide open. That's back when you ain't have to have that deep post to try to run in between them. Say, I got a running back that can do it. So the greatest show on turf. Ask Marshall Faulk who was his inspiration. I bet you say Roger Craig. Ask LaDainian Thomas. Oh, Roger Craig. Ask Christian. I mean, ask C-Mac. I mean, he knows. So I hope he gets in, man, because my cousins are big time San Francisco 49er fans, and every time it comes up, they go, Roger Craig is so disrespected. He is, because he was. Don't punish him for being that good. Don't punish him for being that great at football.
Even when we interviewed Ricky over the summer, it was one of the things that the three of us kind of brought up, and it was Roger's one of those rare do threat backs, and he was one of the few from that era. I know, like, obviously, we make some of these reels go up on TikTok. People were like, oh, well, what about the three-headed monster that the Miami Dolphins had? And when, they had Zonka and all this other stuff. I'm like, listen, I mean, you're getting all that from three different backs, and, all that other stuff. Like Roger Craig, what he meant to that Niners team was what really built, as Ben was sitting there saying, what turned out to be that West Coast offense that everyone tried to implicate at that time. They try to mimic it all throughout the league. It wound up here in Philadelphia for a period of time. It wound up out there in Green Bay. Like it was all over the place. So it's a copycat league, and not everyone could do it as well as the Niners did during that time. So, it's way long overdue. I hope this is an easy vote for Roger to get in. It's entirely too long overdue, and it's something that we talk about a lot. We're going to get back to the Hall of Fame in baseball a little bit later in the program. I want to kind of kick things off with the college football side of things, since we are getting down to the nitty gritty here, and we're going to get right into kind of the main topic for this morning show, this afternoon show is, is 2025 the death of the college football bowl system? As more than a handful of teams have opted out of potential bowl games. Kansas State, Kansas, Iowa State, Florida State, Auburn, UCF, Baylor, Rutgers, Temple, and obviously the whole Notre Dame thing. Now, before I get your guys' comments, that actually there's only one school that had made a statement regarding on what was going on, and that was the University of Temple, at least that I've seen. I'm sure other schools have said things, but the University of Temple would like to clarify the recent reports regarding potential participation in postseason play. At no point in time did Temple decline a bowl invitation. We received a phone call yesterday afternoon to discuss the invitation before we were able to discuss opportunities with coaches, staff, students, and athletes, and the university leadership. The opportunity was offered to another institution. The value of the significance of bowl participation was disappointed. Our student athletes, fans, university at this point in time did not work out. Temple remains committed to transparency and making responsible decisions, best interest of our student athletes and the institution. So obviously, again, wanted to make sure that the Temple aspect of that was clarified. They did receive an invitation as they went to go back and go over it with coach and staff, students, student athletes, etc. It was offered to another university. They wanted moving on, but seeing what has happened, over the last week or so with universities opting out of potential bowl appearances, whether it be because they weren't in the college football playoffs, whatever. Do you feel like this is going to be the start of the end of the death of what is the bowl appearance? Let's start this one off with Marvin.
I don't know. I think it's too early in the process. Like right now, we're still trying to figure out how to handle the transfer portal, the window, when it's going to happen, when players are going to come and go. You got so many guys now. Now it's so common for these kids to want to transfer after the end of the season, do these one-and-done deals. Maybe these teams don't know what they're going to have. In my opinion, of all those schools that you listed, I didn't see, any elite level programs. So these are teams who probably, in many ways, like Florida State, they won 5 games and they got invited to a bowl game. These are teams who probably don't feel great about their chances. I think that as a university, you probably want to give your seniors, those fifth-year players, those last-year players, an opportunity to get some more film. Because trust me, this time of year, all they're thinking about is, am I going to get drafted? Where am I going to get drafted? Do I have enough film to get drafted? Then that's just normal. That's normal. That's okay. So I think it would be great for those older guys who want that film. And I also think, for your younger guys who are going to stay, it's an opportunity to practice. I mean, bowl prep is a big thing. There's real growth in a player in those 15 practices. That's a lot of practices. You know what I'm saying? So, you get these younger guys in there to get more reps. That's how I look at it. Now, when I was at SC, we had 2 seasons where we went 6-6 and we declined the bowl game, and, I think for USC, it was just more of, it was a bad season and, playing whatever bowls below our standard. A lot of those teams that you listed on that list, they need more work. They're not elite. They don't have historic success. I mean, Florida State had a run with, had a run there. And I think they are a relevant or a good program. But outside of that, a lot of those schools could use that work. You know what I'm saying? And in a day and I don't, in regards to the money as well, I know these schools trying to make that money. So, for their NIL or whatever it may be, I don't understand why they wouldn't want to play. I think it's I think it's a way to reward your senior class, for their contributions. And, listen, there was a day in time when going to a bowl game meant success. It meant significance. You know what I'm saying? With the playoffs, maybe it's not so much, but still it's something to celebrate. And I think it's a positive thing for the program, especially if, you didn't have, if you didn't make that championship run. So is it the death of the bowl games? I wouldn't say that yet. I think college football is still working out its calendar and is trying to figure out, what we're going to be doing here in this post-NIL transfer portal era. So, it's sad for the kids, man. I hate it for the kids, but these schools are making their own business decisions. I don't agree with them.
Absolutely, Ben. Your thoughts? Is this the death of the college football bowl system?
You're on mute,
Ben. You're on mute. You're on mute.
My fault. Yeah, I don't think it's the death of the bowl system. I think some of these colleges and universities, their perception and reality don't match. What they think they were is not what they are, and if you are Florida State and you won 5 games, people want to give you another opportunity to kind of right some wrongs, and you said, no, we're not going to go. That either means, one, we don't think we're going to win the bowl game, or we don't think we can bring any quality to that bowl site. For a person that got to play in 4 bowl games, it is unique for players. It's a way bigger experience for players that hasn't played all year because you got so many activities going on. That's when you learn a lot about what the college football landscape means to people across the country, because you're going to a place you probably never been, meeting people you're probably never going to see again. And what I don't like about these decisions being made is this: these college coaches, man, they're getting bonuses, they're getting book deals and different things. It's a chance to help market your school, market these players, and I don't like how these decisions. Notre Dame, I understand it. You thought you was going to get in. You didn't get in. We're going to just move on. Baylor? What? Kansas State? Florida State? Temple? Sometimes it's the audacity. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, so you don't want to go to a bowl game. Was this something that was decided by the players? Absolutely not. I can tell. No. You did not ask every player. You might have talked to a couple of seniors that's probably leaving anyway. You probably talk to, your quarterback. If you talk to, you probably talk to your GM. You probably talk to the president. Athletic director said we're not going to go. Well, what does that say about it? What does that say about your program where you're always preaching about finishing the standard, what we play for? You took an opportunity away from me because you're supposed to put my best interest in mind. When does a football team don't want to play football? That doesn't happen at any level, by the way. You forfeited. That's what you did. You forfeited. And now, so if we make the college football playoff, you're going to opt out of that. You notice one thing, you notice something else you ain't seeing. Remember when players was opting out of bowl games? Why aren't you seeing that no more? Players ain't opting out like they was. They were at one point. It's another opportunity to be seen. And for those who don't think the bowl game is important, there are players that boosted their draft stock in bowl games. Because everybody's not going to be invited to the East-West Shrine Bowl. Everybody's not going to get invited to the Senior Bowl and these type of things. Everybody's not going to get invited to the Combine. But college football is precious. And I want to soak up as much as I can. I owe it. If I'm a player that's going to get drafted, I owe it to the players that I know ain't going. Man, I want to go out there one more time with y'all. And that's so I don't like these type of decisions. I will never, ever, 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 ever trust decision makers in college athletics. I'm not trusting them. These grown men and women and chancellors, because they got hidden agendas. Oh, and to all those ADs and people that got out of the sport, people said, man, a lot of these ADs left. They cashed out. They made that much money that they got out. They didn't just leave. Come on now. They go crazy. So stop opting out. Ask the players. Oh, here's the thing. If you don't want to play, don't come. Hey, coach. Well, how about we get the coaches that want to coach, the players that want to play? We need 11 guys on offense, defense, special teams. Let's rock. Because we watch bowl games. It's a lot of them now. It's a lot, but we watch because we football junkies. Like we want to watch. And think about if you are one, you rooted for one of these teams and went to one of these schools, you like, we opted out. You're not. You kind of making people win the perception battle when it comes to these schools when you opt out. Man, they already want to play. How can you say you want to compete when you said we don't want to compete? That's what you're saying. No. We want to compete. No, you don't. No, you don't. So I'm like Marvin. I don't agree with it. That's why you need more former players as head coaches. They're not opting out. Like what? Like, go play. Oh, and for every team that don't opt out, that's an opportunity for a team to want to opt in. So don't come. Somebody else gonna come. So you don't want to come. And guess what you're doing for future? That bowl site, don't remember that. Because they've been telling people y'all was coming. Now you're not gonna come. I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna remember when it comes time.
There, you're right. You're absolutely right.
You're messing up my money, man. If I'm promoting Marvin Powell to come do an autograph signing, that's who people want to see. Now, if Marvin can't come, that's different. That's different, right? But if Marvin can't come, I'm gonna shut it down. I'm not gonna do it because whoever the fill-in is, what's your name again? No. Listen, if somebody will ask you what's your name again, they ain't asking the person. That's not me talking to the person wanting the autograph. That's a person wanting the autograph. What's your name? Oh, for real? You play football? Yeah, sign it. No. You want to see certain people. So I don't get this. And to these coaches doing this, what does it say about you as a coach? How do you explain that to those young men's parents? And why are we going to a bowl game? We don't really think it's a good fit. Do you think it matter what your record is in a bowl game? Nope. That's why Florida State got invited. It doesn't really matter at that point. 9 wins, 10 wins, 5 wins. A 5-win team that didn't make it told a bowl site no because we Florida State. What does that mean? It used to mean a lot more than it means now. So yeah, I don't get this portion of college football. So as much as people think that transfer portal, NIL is ruining the game, who make the decisions? Grown men. That's who making decisions. And this the best decision. So the best decisions you could tell a football player, a competitor, is we ain't going. Now, in the words of Willie Beeman, when you're talking to Al Pacino, F you, coach. I ain't buying your brand on any given Sunday. I ain't with that.
Now, to stay on the college football realm, we have a few more topics we're going to go over, but as we were mentioned, the college football playoffs have been announced. The bracket has come out. Obviously, Indiana, Texas Tech, Ohio State, and Georgia all get buys. I still think that when you're asking me, just the outside looking in, the premier matchup is Alabama and Oklahoma, in my opinion. I know Texas A&M and Miami should be fun. We got Ole Miss in there. We got Oregon in there. What are your guys' thoughts? What are your guys' early predictions? How do you see this playing out? Let's start off with Ben on this one.
Let me. I know everybody wants to talk about JMU and Tulane. I get it. Everybody wants to talk. Don't nobody want to see no JMU Oregon. Don't nobody want to see no Tulane Ole Miss. Let me tell you about this though. Do I think that Oregon gonna beat JMU? Yeah. Do I think Ole Miss gonna beat Tulane? Yep. Do I think it's gonna be more exciting than people think? Yes, I do. Because you have elite programs around the country. And then you got certain programs are in it that they are in elite conferences and they get grouped in. Ole Miss is not an elite program. It is not. It's been real good. It is not an elite program. Oregon, I mean, Marvin, you may look at it a little different than me. They've had some moments. Like, here's the problem, right? Here's the problem with Oregon. Oregon, they talk about Oregon like it's SC. What the? What? No. For this reason, what has Oregon won in their history? Because what I'm saying is, when Oregon left the Pac-12, nobody cared. When SC left, they're like, what? Because it's different. It was different. So for me, these people talking about, man, Tulane gonna get mollywopped by Ole Miss. They better. Oh, Oregon gonna mop the floor with JMU. They better. Because if they don't, they're gonna be like, wait a minute, everybody thinking that G5 shouldn't be in this thing. You couldn't beat a lot of these G5 schools could beat some P4 schools. Make no mistake about it. Don't get it twisted, man. We get caught up in the prestige or the perception of a school. The game is Alabama, Oklahoma. Coach DeBoer, he better not lose to Oklahoma 3 times because he done lost to them in back-to-back seasons. He better find a way to win this one. Because if not, they're gonna be like, wait a minute, you could beat Alabama, you could beat Georgia in back-to-back years, and you lose the freaking Oklahoma, not just in the regular season 2024, 2025, and in the playoffs. Yeah, it's gonna be chaotic in Tuscaloosa if that does indeed happen. But I'm looking at these G5 schools. I mean, because as an uncle of a young man at a G5 school, Kennesaw State, I think about them all the time. I think about if I went to a G5 school. And for people thinking G5 schools don't really have big time players, or HBCU schools, have you ever heard of Walter Payton? That's Jackson State. You ever heard of Michael Strahan? That's Texas Southern. You ever heard of what's that bum name? God, Jerry Rice? That's Mississippi Valley State. So when you talk about Shannon Sharp, it just goes on and on. Are HBCUs gonna get in? No. Hell, we'll have to freeze over twice for them to let them in. They ain't gonna do that. But when it comes to this college football playoff, I think they did get it right. If you Notre Dame, pick a conference, get in your conference for real. I don't want to hear that Notre Dame. You pick your own schedule and you're lost. So I don't want to hear.
So way early prediction. Who's your early favorite to win the college football playoff this year?
Because Indiana, I think Indiana is a team that's really, really scared, but they already beat Ohio State. You got to potentially beat Ohio State twice. Now you beating them twice. Georgia is the scariest team in it, but I still think Ohio State, I think they might still be the best team that's left in this thing. Georgia's incredible. Indiana got, Mendoza and what they're doing with Coach Signetti and them. I think they're the best story. But I still think Ohio State and Georgia are the usual suspects, man. When you've been doing it year in and year out and you know what it takes to win one game, I think it's going to be hard to beat them too. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Because as soon as the team don't get in, let's go to 14 teams. Let's go to 16 teams. Let's go to 32 teams like the NCAA tournament. No. Everybody ain't going to make it in. And I'm sorry. If you want to pick a team that should be in, that's not in, how about you take away Miami and put Vanderbilt in? I'll put Vanderbilt in over Miami. Yeah, I'll put them in over them, and I wouldn't have no problem. People say, why would you put Miami in? Miami has never won the ACC. How long have they been there? Since 2005. But they talk real loud, don't they? How you be there 20 years, you ain't never won it, but you be beating your chest. We'll see. I'm looking forward to the whole thing, though. I think that selection show was wild, man. People were
Oh man, I
pissed
gotta
when
throw
Notre
this up
Dame
there
didn't
just
get in.
because I know it's in there, and you got to comment on this one.
Of course, listen, great season by Kennesaw State. My nephew plays for them, didn't get a lot of burn plays. Running back, Marvin, know what I'm saying? Number 2, he'll be out there next year. Look, Coach Mack, they went from 2-10 in 2024 to 10-3 this year, and they won the whole thing. Coach Mack went from making $850,000 a year to $2.5 million a year. Not counting that man pockets, but old Mama Mack loving that. I mean, she'll take that cheese. But I'm learning to root for the schools that no one really knows about. Look, you can't do what SC has done in football with Heisman's and that's solidified, right? That's solidified. But the young Marvin Powells of the world that's coming up, he got a legacy that's going to be hard to live up to with his granddaddy and his daddy. Well, guess what? If little old Kennesaw State got a shot to make the college football playoff, that's easy. That's an easier sale.
And actually,
we can come to the game.
I almost forgot about it, and I didn't load the video up. What did you think about the Jacksonville State Troopers trying to stop the flag plane?
Clowns.
Like that was utterly ridiculous. It's one thing if there was players having back and forth and they're trying to break it up. But if you yourself are interjecting yourself in a situation that is custom at this point in time, it is something that almost every team does now. When you wind up winning a big game like that in someone else's house, is that you're going to want to put your flag right there in the 50-yard line. The fact that the state troopers got involved with this is
clowns. It's clown behavior, Steven, for this reason, right? You don't want me to plant your flag? Yeah, don't let me win. Simple. Like, if I invited you to my house and your team beat mine, I can't tell you, man, stop all that celebrating, man. Stop all that. No. I don't like what. Why do cops want to go viral for stupidity? What's the problem? Didn't you see what happened? You didn't see what happened in Texas A&M, South Carolina? Oh no. That happened to him. That won't happen to me. Y'all are clowns. My nephew was at that game, man. Right? So if it's in your job description to protect and serve, what are you protecting and serving? Like, what are you doing?
You're there to protect the players from fans.
What are you doing on the field? What is there a melee? Did they rush the field? What? Why are you out there? The best cops when it come to sports, you see them, but you don't know them. They just standing there. They ain't do it. It's like they not even there. And look, I'm not here to bring any more attention to myself, right? When's the last time a head coach of college athletics got somebody try to fight him? Never. That's never happened. So I really don't know what the cops are there for. Nobody wants to fight these coaches. Well, let me say this. You probably do want to fight them, but you're not going to attempt to fight them. You probably do want to fight them. I didn't like it because why are you trying to take away from my moment, man? What do you think you're doing? You think you're going to go back to the camp? Good job, man. The way you was they were going to plant that flag. And I would have told him, hey, man, who's the starting right guard for Jacksonville State? I don't know. Get off the field. Man, you don't even know the team. You don't even know them. So I don't like stuff like that. No, if I'm a cop, my job is to be a cop, not that other stuff.
I thought it was nonsense. I'm glad Eddie brought that up, but I do want to move on because we got still a long list of stuff to kind of get to. Want to get Marvin started? I'm gonna pull the graphic back up. Here's the final bracket for the college football playoff. What sticks out to you? What matchups are you excited for? And who is your early favorite to wind up coming out top of this year's college football playoffs?
You know, with all this drama with Notre Dame, obviously the Miami game, Miami Texas A&M game, that's a common opponent for Notre Dame. You know, obviously Notre Dame's AD came out and just spoke to the reasons why he felt they should have been in there, and he has valid reasons. I think they got screwed over actually, but. You know, I'm intrigued to see what A&M and Miami do. You know, there was controversy about Miami, whether they were going to get in or not. They did. They're playing a formidable opponent. But I'm also interested to see what Alabama does because they had a horrible loss, you know, against Georgia in an SEC game. A lot of people felt Alabama should not have been in the playoffs, okay? Now you have Brent Venables, you know, his first Oklahoma team to make the playoffs. They had a good regular season. You know, this is time to see who's real. You know what I'm saying? If Alabama takes a loss, boy, you're going to hear them people in Alabama talking about get him out of there. You know what I'm saying? Back-to-back losses, coming off a horrible loss in the SEC championship game against a team who you beat before. And listen, when two teams are evenly matched or closely matched, it's hard to beat a good team twice. It really is. So I get that. But man, Georgia looked good against Alabama. So Alabama Nation, no doubt about it, is eyeing this game to see if they got the guy in DeBoer or not, or is he still coaching Nick Saban's guys? Because that's what you're going to hear. If these people ain't happy. Look, man. In regards to Kennesaw State, Ben, I'm about 5 minutes from the stadium. I've been pushing for Kennesaw State as the local team. They're my little baby team out here. I support. You had mentioned your nephew played for them. I didn't. I haven't seen him. I haven't.
No, he was a true fan. This was his first year, so he redshirted this year. He's number 2. I'm looking forward to, I'm looking forward to seeing that joke out there, man. I mean, obviously, he's the youngest of my brothers 3. He is what my brother wanted to be in high school. My brother never played any sport because, grades and different things. Mm-hmm. And, to be able to have yours out there, man, ain't nothing like it, man. So when he finally get out there, and what was crazy is, I came out of 2000. My best friend on the team went to Furman. My nephew came out of 2025. His best friend on the team went to Furman. I won the SEC championship my freshman year. Didn't really play. He won a conference USA championship his freshman year. He didn't play. So the trajectory, our past. I think my nephew is a way better player than I was. By the way, let me say that. I'm supposed to say that, but I've seen the boy. When I don't know how it is for you, Marvin, or Steven. When I watch my bloodline play, I try to sit back, put the bias aside, because I'm there to see him. And when I finally got to see that joker play last year or 2 years ago in high school, he could dance with that ball, man. He could dance with it, Marvin. He's one of those. My nephew ain't real shifty. He a thumper. He ain't real shifty, but he's one of those guys. He'll say 2 yards here, 3 yards there. And you know how that hole open up or close, he'll hit. And I told him, I say, fast guys can just run straight. I say, wish we were fast guys. We start straight and we get a look close to that sideline. We use the sideline. We kind of run it like that. I don't want that guy to catch me, but hey, man, I'm proud of him, man. He's upstanding young man that can run, that can tote that rock, and I'm looking forward to it. I mean, one thing about Coach Mack, former running back, coached at Tennessee, coached the Jacksonville Jaguars to come back as a head coach, first time head coach Kennesaw State to win the whole. You know how it is, Amar. You won the whole thing in year 1. I mean, think about that. Most guys ain't gonna win it all. Period. In the con, he won it all in year 1, and yeah, man. Next year, man. Hopefully, you get some Troupe. Some people be yelling Troupe in the stands. Man, it's gonna be funny, man. Just because. I got to keep a joke out of my house, man. Every time he comes to the crib, man, I said, why you always talking to me in the kitchen, bro? We can talk in the living room. He all in the pantry. But I'm proud of him, man. He's a. I will say this, and I'm not breaking no news here. But if Coach Mack do what he did this year, next year, and the year after that, he gone. He gone. And I told my brother that. Hopefully he'll take my nephew with him. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because I think he want to coach in the ACC. That's just me.
Let me touch on something Ben had mentioned earlier. Listen, with Oregon, you're right. All this hype but no wins. It's nothing significant, right? I think in this year's playoffs, Oregon is a team people ain't talking about enough, and I mean that. Listen. The Big Ten championship game last weekend was the first time I really watched Indiana, and that quarterback is impressive. He's tough, athletic, can make all the throws. Now I see more, why he was getting so much hype. They wasn't really on my radar like you would think they would be. I just, maybe because they've been irrelevant for the last 150 years. To me, this was just smoke and mirrors, right? I thought they had a Boise State season. I don't know. But no, Oregon is a team that I think people really ain't talking about. I believe in Georgia. I believe in Indiana. But I seen Oregon up close. Them boys is tough, man. They built different. They got athletes, and I think they're going to surprise some people in these playoffs. In regards to this thing with JMU and Tulane, listen, there ain't no Cinderellas in college football. A Boise State can beat Oklahoma in a game. But no JMU or Tulane is going through the gauntlet of a college football playoff and going upset after upset. That ain't going to happen. Now, I get it. In the NIL day, a lot of these smaller schools got dudes. They do. You know what I'm saying? They got guys because everybody getting paid. But no. At this point, You're not going to see JMU going to get blown. They're going to get blown. Tulane going to get blown again. Okay, that's really what I believe. I know you have talent at smaller schools. You got a lot of these bounce backs and all that stuff, but some of these programs are built. They're ready for that right now. They've been on this already. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, man, you ain't gonna see no Cinderella in these college football playoffs. This is gonna come down to Indiana, Oregon, and Georgia. And even though I hate to say it, I would. And I'm not a betting man. I'd probably bet on them Ducks if I was.
Hey man, we'll see. Dan Lanning, he's doing a good.
He's real.
I am not hating. Listen, former tight end George Reister. You know what I'm saying? This is really that. George Reister went to played at Jacksonville. He went to Oregon. He back when I was on ESPN radio, he was on the show. He called them my little Braves. So maybe that's what I don't like. Yeah. Because he's a Dodgers fan. He was like, "Your little Braves," and then the Braves won. That's when they won the World Series. Haven't heard from George since. So George.
That's how it
goes. I'm just saying. Listen, the Dodgers are the Dodgers. The Dodgers are the Dodgers. Come on now, I ain't doing that. But Ohtani ain't no slouch, man. I'm just saying, you got the best player. You got the best player, on planet Earth.
Then they compare him to Babe Ruth. That's it. Who else they compare to Babe Ruth? You know what I'm saying? They compare.
Ohtani is only American baseball. The best player ain't even American. Yeah. And I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at Ohtani. I'm just saying we ain't got no Ohtanis. Y'all do got Freddie Freeman though. You took him from us. Just saying. That's another him, man. They did. The agent did. They did. Listen, that's. I would never. There are certain things in baseball I'll never get over. The fact that Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame and Jerry Maguire, Marvin not in the Hall of Fame. I'm never gonna get over that. But Freddie High Waist Freeman. Come on, baby. You don't let him go. And I love Matt Olson. Love Olson.
We'll get back into baseball in a second.
Steve, people in Atlanta were brokenhearted when Freddie left. These people was hurt. They was hurt, Steve.
Well, we got some baseball topics. We're gonna get to it in hour number 2. My final thoughts on the whole playoff thing. I guess Notre Dame fans are salty. I'm gonna sit there and say what everyone sits there and say. Pick a conference. Exactly. Stop crying. Get more juice in the game.
Steve, they choosing money. They choosing independent money over being in the conference. And listen, nobody's saying that. They choosing money over chips. That's true.
And it's not just that. Like they've been doing this for a long time, and I think this is the year that the people in charge of college football is like, you know what, we're going to make an example out of them this year. They don't quite got enough juice as far as the quality wins, etc. They got some key losses. We're gonna make it hurt them this year for not actually picking a conference. I think this is going to change the fact that they're going to have to pick one next year. Eddie was just sitting there saying there's different Cinderella stories when it comes to football than basketball, but I want Indiana to do it just because they haven't done it. I love parity. I don't want to sit there and see the same old teams. And I'm even with Marvin too. I hope the Oregon Ducks do something so we can sit there and stop.
I don't hope they do. I don't hope that they do. I think that they will. There's a difference. Okay. I don't hope that they will. I'm just to get that clear. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Listen, we all got our favorites for this college playoffs when it comes down to it. I want to touch on 2 more college subjects, and then we'll get into some of that baseball stuff I was trying to get to before we get to some NFL stuff. We were talking about HBCU. We've been talking about Deshaun Jackson on here. He was officially named the HBCU Coach of the Year, and it's absolutely no surprise, especially to me, Ben. I know we've been talking about D-Jax a lot, for what he's done to Delaware State. I think he tripled their win total over a 3-year span. He had more wins in one season that they've had in the last 3. So big ups to Deshaun Jackson. Marvin, your thoughts on this, and then we'll get to Ben on it.
Hey, listen, Ben mentioned it earlier. This is Long Beach Poly, baby. Deshaun's a Long Beach Poly guy. Growing up in the San Fernando Valley, my father and Deshaun's dad, Bill, were very close friends. So, again, Deshaun was always over at the house when he was a young buck. And he had a certain energy then. And he took that energy up to Berkeley and then out to Philly. And and now leading his team as a head coach and coach of the year. I can't tell you how proud I am of this young man. He has a story to tell. He's had a life of elite level success. Like most young men, ups and downs and mistakes and all that stuff, but he's persevered, stayed the course. And he's such an example, such a phenomenal example of players and just young people and what leadership can look like, and what leadership looks like. You know what I'm saying? And can't tell you how proud I am of this guy to get out there in his first year, in his first year out there. You know, so look, this guy obviously is passionate about this. It's showing up. You see the results of his hard work and his belief. I think he'll probably have opportunities. Well, he'll definitely have opportunities to move up at some point. But he's just getting started, man. I think this guy's just getting started. You know, I watched him do an interview on the Breakfast Club where he was just talking about what this meant to him, you know, and just talking about all the situations that he can relate to with these kids and just helping these kids. And at the end of the day, all he wants to do is impact kids. He loves football and all that stuff, but he wants to impact kids, and he's doing that. So just a great headline for a former NFL player, a great headline for this NFL Shield, great headline for people, so people can have a certain level of awareness and realize that, listen, we can build leadership, we can build coaches maybe in an unconventional way. You know what I'm saying? And I think, you know, Coach Prom obviously has set the tone for that. You see many other guys following that lead, taking an HBCU route where they're having impact and also ascending in their coaching careers. So kudos, congratulations. You know, very proud of this young man. And you know, listen, hopefully he continues to build on this, because I think this is just the beginning for him.
Ben, your thoughts on D-Jax?
Proud of D-Jax. And sometimes things just work out the way they should for a guy in D-Jax who, I mean, as Marvin just said, all he want to do is inspire the next generation. I mean, him and his dad had such a unique bond with each other. And the thing about D-Jax is just like a Roger Craig, people do not appreciate the player he was. D-Jax was nasty good. Not the biggest dude. But super duper productive. And now D-Jax, coach of the year, him, Michael Vick get to play in Lincoln Financial every year. I hope they play that there every year. In the MEAC. Now he just got to make it to Atlanta to the Celebration Bowl. Not that it has to be that, but because now the world gets to see it. And you look at, I mean, I know we're gonna talk about it. You think D-Jax and Michael Vick and Prime ain't a big reason why Marshall Falk's at Southern? Like, look at what happens. And man, we go.
Our next subject, Ben. You already know this. We'll get to that.
Yeah. So I'm happy for him. I'm proud of D-Jax because people think that when you a player as great as he was, as much success as he was, as much money as he made, they think, oh well, I've done mine. I'm good. No, man. I mean, what? As my grandfather said, you got 3 stages in life, man. You got to learn the stage, earn the stage, and return the stage. He's returning it, man. Based on what he's learned and earned, he returning it back to these youngins. And what can you say to him? Like, hey, man, I did it on the field. Let me tell you what I mean by doing it on the field. Anybody that disrespects an NFL player, come on, bro. He made it. I don't care if he has 1 yard or no yards. He's one of the best players to ever do it. Why? Because I got paid to do it. I ain't talking about NIL. You made it to the NFL, whether you play 1 play or 100 plays. I respect it because you were a one of one. And for all the people that think, well, he just plays special teams, all right, go be a gunner. It's just special. Go be a gunner. They earned their money, man. I'm telling you.
Ben, he was a Pro Bowl returner and receiver in the same year.
He's him. Deshaun Jackson is
one of the best deep threat of his day.
Yes. Yeah. The guy that's going to get all the credit for the deep threat, as he should, is Randy Moss. As he should. D-Jax got the most 50-yard touchdowns in NFL history.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're a Giants fan, I mean, you just don't punt it to him.
Right.
Just don't punt it to him. Dummies. Punt it out of bounds. I'm trying to make a point. So, yeah, I'm happy for D-Jax, and I'm looking forward to the next set of football players, former players that get to be head coaches, because, we're a copycat. Hey, man, look what they do in Delaware State. Hey, man, look what they did at Jackson State. Look what they did in Norfolk State. Let's do it over here at Southern. Let's, I know he ain't there yet, but Eddie George. I mean, he was at TSU up there in Nashville. Now he's up there, Bowling Green. I mean, I'm happy for former football players to get a chance. If guys that never played get to be coach players who actually did something on the field, go out there, give them a lot of leeway. But shout out to DJ, man, HBC Coach of the Year, and he got bragging rights. Hey, Mike Vick, you better get right because y'all love each other. But he won up on you. He won up on you.
And as we were talking about Marshall Falcon and Southern University of HBCU, obviously we know he's been on Deion Sanders' coaching staff at least for the last year, and gets his opportunity now to run his own program. What do you think the effect that Marshall Falk's going to now have on this program? We'll start this one off with Ben and go to Marvin.
Similar, if not greater than what Prime has done. You don't think Deion Sanders knew he was going to Southern? Of course he did. But he said, dude, come over here first. Why? You got to see what it's like. Look at what Deion does. Hey, listen. Let you come over here to see what it's like. See what it's like to have to run a practice. See what it's like to have to run. Deion is the pipeline. Make no mistake about it. You know who's going to be next in line to get a head coaching job if people willing to do it? Warren Sapp. Watch. They're going to be getting. And so I'm happy for Marshall Falk. Listen, when Marshall Falk first got hired, when he said, hey, man, I'm Marshall Falk, Google me. if you don't know who I am, just Google me. I did a couple of things back in as well as being a Heisman Trophy finalist when I was at San Diego State. Baller at San Diego State. No, I'm happy for Marshall Falk. I think what former players, they look at the landscape of college athletics, they say, look, I'm gonna try to help steer this thing in another direction. Because everybody ain't getting, just because we in the NIL era doesn't mean that everybody's getting NIL money or NIL opportunities. That is a myth too. It ain't rampant like we think. Mm-hmm. Marshall Falk is saying, hey man, what y'all didn't get without me, y'all get with me. That's exposure. So you might not get the money, but you can get more eyes open. So I like it. And I like the fact that they're going the HBCU route. I like that part because, not that it should be this way, but Marvin, though, when you got melanin in your skin, man, they're gonna look at us way different. Definitely our community. They're gonna be like, oh, so you running over there, huh? Get your money now. Get your money. But Marshall, man, let's see what you made of, man. I mean, no pressure at Southern, right? Until it is. I know about old Baton Rouge. Yeah, so I don't know who got the best band in HBCU. Southern say they got it. FAMU say they got it. Bethune say they got it. They say the Sonic Boom of the South is FAMU. They say the Souls of the South is gonna be Southern. I know a little bit about these HBCU, but I'm proud of Marshall, man. A lot of guys don't want to damage their reputation as a coach with what they did as a player, but he said, man, forget all that. Let's go over here to Southern. The first person he called is Deshaun. Hey, Deshaun, coming for you, boy. I see what you're doing at Delaware State. We coming for y'all. Don't know if they play each other because you got the MEAC and the SWAC, but that's some good stuff.
Saying Florida A&M.
Listen, as a person that went to college in Florida, I'm not saying anything against the March of 100. I'm just saying every time it was FAMU homecoming, we ain't coming in the NIL era. We had barely enough money to get gas. So we couldn't go. So maybe I'm a little salty that I couldn't go to FAMU homecoming.
All right, Marvin, your thoughts on the great Marshall Falk?
Real quick, Ben. In regards to who's the best band, best whoever, you gotta check out them dancing dolls. For just Google dancing dolls for professional reasons. They without question they got that whole thing on lock.
Okay.
Listen, a little bit about Marshall Falk, man. Born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana, was an elite athlete coming out, but only a few schools recruited him to play running back. Every school wanted this kid to play the DB. He goes to San Diego State. In 1992, I watched him rip USC for 199 yards as San Diego State starting running back. And then as an NFL rookie, I saw him twice when he was with the Greatest Show on Turf. Marshall Falk was the truth, people. You hear about Kurt Warner, you hear about the Greatest Show on Turf. Listen, even Peyton Manning credits him to his development, just being there when Peyton was young. Marshall was a veteran running back helping him out, just having that kind of impact on a young Peyton Manning. And, obviously, just having an NFL Hall of Famer on that staff with Warren Sapp and Prom. I know those guys are cooking up magic over there, just trying to get those kids right. They struggled, but believe me, those kids are being impacted in a very positive way. To see Marshall Faulk go to Southern University, go back to his home state where he's from. He understands Baton Rouge. It's only an hour from New Orleans, so he understands that community, those people, that culture. He grew up, watching, Southern and Grambling go at it for years. He understands it. He gets it. So I think, especially in the NIL day, competing against other HBCUs, man, I expect Marshall Faulk to do phenomenal as a recruiter in a transfer portal, to be competitive with the other HBCUs, and with his insight, his knowledge. I mean, he was one of my favorite guys on TV, one of my favorite analysts. You know what I'm saying? And I hate that he stopped doing that, but this is a big win for Southern University, a big win for the state of Louisiana, a big win for those kids, that community, because he's not going there just to, try to ascend to get to the next level. He really wants to have impact in his community. That's what this is. This is a win-win in a major way for him in that school. And I really expect him to do well. Looking forward to seeing him do well. And, I'm happy to see him be able to go from, elite athlete, great analyst, and I'm sure we're going to be adding, very good head coach, impactful head coach for this program.
I reiterate all this stuff, stuff that Ben was sitting there saying earlier. I love the fact that we're getting so many of these athletes that used to be, big NFL stars, Pro Bowlers, Hall of Fame level guys that are now giving back, getting in the coaches, and not just going after these big prestigious programs. They're trying to build their own prestige in their coaching repertoire. What we've seen this past season from Mike Vick, Deshaun Jackson, and now Marshall Faulk getting into it, and Deion's the one that kind of laid the blueprint for it. We'll get into a little bit more into Deion later on, as we're gonna talk about Shedeur Sanders in hour number 2. But I love this stuff. I love to see some of these guys get back, and not just that. Marvin was just touching on it, and not just in the football sense, about giving back to these communities, giving some of these kids that may feel like I'm just in this small part of Louisiana. Or, how am I ever going to do this? How am I ever going to do that? Having a guy that they can relate to in a Marshall Faulk, what Ben was already talking about, in a Deshaun Jackson, being able to have somebody that's gone through the struggle to kind of get to where they're at, and show it that it doesn't take a whole lot. Just you got to put the work in. And as long as a lot of these kids do what they need to do, both on the field and in the class, they can put the work in, and they can find their way, to an opportunity to be drafted, to be put on an NFL 53-man roster. That's all a lot of these young kids really just want. They just want their opportunity to be able to do that, to say that they did it. They got out of the neighborhood. They did this. So it's a great moment. I hope nothing but the best for Marshall Faulk. We're gonna see really see him shine. I think not just on the field, but the other stuff. So yeah, I mean, there's probably less pressure. I agree with you there, Eddie. But at the same time, a lot of these guys put a lot of pressure on themselves to kind of perform at it too. So he may not have the outward pressure, but he's gonna have the pressure on himself. But yeah, man, the food down there's crazy, brother. The food down there's crazy. But as we get ready to go into some football topics, the first one I want to get to is, we're talking about great running backs, great prestigious guys this year, or in the past when we're talking about Roger Craig. We just got done talking about Marshall Faulk. We got to give Jahmyr Gibbs some love, man, because through 45 games, he is in elite conversation. He's got more yards per carry than Barry Sanders. He's got more total touchdowns than Jerry Rice. He's almost got more total yards than Emmitt Smith through 45 games. I know everyone's been talking about, how great Detroit's been over the last few years. You need to circle Jahmyr Gibbs' name as a reason why they've been so good over those last few names, and those numbers right there show it. I want to start off on Marvin on this. Do you think Jahmyr Gibbs is really going to smash all that stuff and kind of reset the records of performance before the age of 24?
Listen, there's no smoke and mirrors when you have those kind of numbers. You know what I'm saying? When you have those kind of numbers and you in different categories, and in different categories, your numbers are right there with some of the all-time greats of the game, if not better. What's interesting and what's sad is, you remember a couple of years ago, these running backs were having a tough time getting their money. They had a tough time getting their money. But if you look again, you look at any NFL champion, right? Any NFL champion, whether it was Brady's 6 in New England or anybody outside of that, there was always a running back. There was always a dude. Maybe he was just there for Corey Dillon, just there for a year or two, whatever it may be. But whether it's your Eagles, I mean, there's always a running back. So and whenever the game's on the line, we talk about in the trenches. That's that running back. Can the defense stop the running back? Can the offense get that ball? In those gaps. It's unreal how we've downplayed the significance of the running back. Granted, we've gone to this, spread offense, if you want, in the NFL now. It's a little more run and gun than how we kind of grew up. But the running back still matters. You look at Detroit, having Ben Johnson out the picture hurts. They lost their OC, they play caller, their brain on offense. But now we're realizing not just Ben Johnson, but Jahmyr Gibbs is a big part of this deal. You know what I'm saying? He's a big part of this glue, what's holding this whole thing together. Phenomenal talent, young guy. I don't watch it. There's no deception in his game. This dude's tough. He's explosive. He's fast. He hits that hole. He accelerates. I mean, this is a guy who's splitting carries, but it's probably to his benefit, to be honest with you. But this guy's balling, man. We're watching greatness. I mean, he is at this point in his career, his first few years, he's playing elite level football, as good as any running back to ever play in a game. And I think in a lot of ways it is going unnoticed until you see, that kind of internet posting with BetMGM, where they're reminding us and letting us know, hey, let's stop and take a look at this guy because his numbers are historic.
They are. Ben, your thoughts on Jahmyr Gibbs?
I'm very, very familiar with Jahmyr Gibbs for two reasons. One, he's from the state of Georgia. He went to Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech let him walk to go to Alabama. The kid, with everybody wanted him coming out of high school. He's been an elite talent, way back with his years, a couple of years at Georgia Tech, and then he went there 1 year with Alabama. Jahmyr Gibbs is really, really good at football because he doesn't mind sharing the rock. See, most guys need a lot of touches to get him and Montgomery, they're two totally different type backs. But Jahmyr Gibbs, in space, he is nasty. He got speed for days. And Jahmyr Gibbs, to me, is like a younger Alvin Kamara. Both of those guys do a lot with less. They just get it done. And I do agree with Marvin. How do you get away from the running back position when you understand that the running back position is the only thing that brings stability to an offense? People are like, what about the offensive line? Doesn't matter if you ain't got guys that can run through those holes. What about your quarterbacks and your running receivers? They need a running game because if you want dimension in football, you're going to win games. You're not going to win the game. Mm-hmm. And what Jahmyr Gibbs brings to that offense is a level of stability. And he shares the rock, which means he's going to play longer. I'm going to play longer with my career because I'm not getting 30 carries a game. I don't need it. Give me 15 carries. Give me, 6, 7 catches and watch what I do with it. Not to mention, they don't use him. They can put him in the return game, but he's just too important to the team because he's that good. So, yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs makes football look easy. When he's at his best, he's 23 years old doing this. He's still under his rookie deal doing this. So when we get so caught up in the big names, he's a big name in the National Football League. He just don't. He said, he's not a me guy. He's a we guy. I mean, look at what we doing over here in Detroit, and that's why Detroit has that mentality. Coach Dan Campbell, it's a we thing, not a me thing over here. And like I said, Jahmyr Gibbs, if you are Georgia Tech, slap yourself 10 times for letting that boy walk. I don't care what he was acting for. I'm not gonna let him leave. And he's an incredible talent. He's gonna threaten if he stays healthy with this level of production. He's gonna threaten some of these. I'm not saying he's gonna get up there to like Emmitt Smith type numbers, but you talk about getting 100 rushing touchdowns, like another running back that's not appreciated. this guy by the name of Sean Alexander, who was a hell of a back for Seattle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, he has superstar written all over him. He understands, look, man, I'm just one of the guys. I don't care about being the guy. Jared Goff going to get most of the headlines. Amon St. Brown goes viral every time he scores the touchdown, but I'm the guy you can't deal with in the backfield, and I can beat you a lot of ways. Catching the rock, running that thing. So, yeah, love Jahmyr Gibbs as a player. Love the way he plays the game, love his approach to the game. And like I said, he ain't even hit his prime yet. He's 7 years away from, quote, they say 30 for a running back is death to a running back. I don't understand that. I think that's crazy. He's 23. He's 23, and I think he already is real close to 50 touchdowns. So, yeah, bad man.
One of the things you just kind of touched on is, he doesn't get enough credit for what he does out of the backfield. When then Detroit played us this season, he had 200 total yards. He had 100 out of the backfield. He had 100 on the ground. So, I think he doesn't get the love he deserves quite yet. I'm sure. That's kind of common now. Didn't the Bears have two guys that hit you off for $1 each? Yeah, that was on the ground. It was 255 yards on the ground. I'm not going to forget that. Trust me, brother. Some of these, it's seared into my memory that Black Friday beatdown that we got, and you had to bring that one back. No, I'm just saying. I don't know. I mean,
he's been beating up on everybody last couple of years. It's all good.
Since we go that way, Marvin, how does it feel to be out of the playoffs for the 15th year in a row?
Let me tell you something. Being a Jet fan, it's really an abusive, toxic relationship. It's horrible. It really is. It is. This is, and we're so suckers as Jet fans because we're loyal. We're loyal. Every year we go into the season believing. Then you still kind of maintain hope for a few games.
Yep.
Then you realize like by game 7 or 6, 7, this ain't gonna be it. Now it's a long season to get it over with. Listen, we drafted Sam Darnold, and I'm watching this kid just rip it up, all over the NFL, and
drafted Quentin Williams, drafted Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, hit on those guys, then had to give them up. I mean, it's tough, man. It's honestly, Jet fans are used to it. Jet fans are so used to it. Like, we're so used to handling this and dealing with it because it's so common, man. So no, Steve, listen, I get on you about your Eagles, that Eagle going down, but I mean, you guys are relevant. You guys are still, having an elite roster.
See, Marvin, I feel you because that was the Eagles fans in the 90s. We were so used to just the consistent bad luck. You'd have guys that were elite level guys, and they'd go here, they'd go there.
But you're saying the 90s. This is what it's been for the Jets since '69. It's been a nosedive, man. I mean, y'all have been relevant. In the 90s, you got McNabb in '99. And he was good for y'all. Y'all didn't win it.
But he was good. Yeah, McNabb was nice. Yeah, and y'all had Michael Vick.
Yeah,
and you had Carson Wentz before you got hurt.
Y'all had Andy Reid. You had Andy Reid.
You had LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun Jackson. What's the receiver y'all had out of Missouri? What's the receiver y'all had out of Missouri?
Jeremy Macklin.
was so good, man. God, he was so good. See, you see that? You see what happens?
And I already talked. We know what good teams do. And we already talked about this earlier in the year, Ben. That 09 season, the Eagles were this close to trading to get Larry Fitzgerald to be traded to that team. That had a Donovan McNabb, that had a Jeremy Macklin, that had a Deshaun Jackson. At that point in time, it was LaShawn McCoy and T.O. I think T.O. was still in Dallas in 09.
Okay.
So, I mean, that still hurt, too, watching T.O. play for Dallas. That it took me a while to get over that. But I want to get on to some other things because, the theme of the offseason was player safety, right? That was the theme of the offseason because, they were trying to ban the Eagles push and everything like that. But this topic came out this week, and I couldn't be happier. I'm sure Marvin couldn't be happier because obviously it's going to hold the MetLife Stadium crew a lot more accountable. Is that the field the field conditions is officially being taken out of teams' hand. The NFL is going to adapt the new mandatory standards for all playing surfaces in any stadium that football is being played in. That they're only going to have a select few of potential surfaces they can use. Now, we talk about the reason why I bring up MetLife is because a lot of guys' seasons have been ended in MetLife Stadium over the span of its existence because of the playing surface. We've seen Saquon Barkley go down. We've seen so many other guys go in there and have season ending injuries. Obviously this season we've seen Malik Neighbors go down. We've seen a lot of guys go down. So how happy are you guys in general for these guys that are the current athletes, that the NFL is changing the policy of the type of playing surface that is allowed to be used? Obviously, the first Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl was a big thing because of Arizona's playing surface. A lot of people were complaining about that because it wasn't natural grass. It was that pelted AstroTurf or whatever it was. What are your guys' thoughts on this one? I want to start with Marvin on this one.
Yeah, listen, the NFL makes $20 billion a year, $25 billion a year off the backs of these players. These are elite level players. These are the greatest players in the world. Why are they not playing in the best condition, period, for these players to perform safely and at a high level? Listen, my dad was telling me a story years ago about how they played the Dolphins in the AFC Championship, and the Dolphins had watered down the entire field because the Jets with Leslie Walker and Lamb Jones and Freeman McNeil, they had some dynamic talent, some real speed out there. This is in the 80s, man. These guys, you had a couple guys at that point making $1 million a year. You would have thought back then that they'd make some kind of standard. So now, I mean, it's been 50 years since the merger. The NFL now is going to take a stance on field conditions and setting a standard for that. They're late on that. They're way late on that. Players have been complaining about turf for years. You know what I'm saying? And you've seen the injuries that go along with that. So I'm happy they're doing it. It's smart that they're doing it. It makes sense that they're going to protect their investment. And again, it's another way. In the day of Spygate, believe me, these teams are using whatever advantage they can to make it hard for you. You know what I'm saying? In any capacity. So whether it's the field, how they take care of it, whatever it may be, I mean, all that stuff has been in play. So I'm happy that they're doing this. It's a good thing. It's good for the game. And they should be doing stuff like this in many different areas, just ensuring that the players are getting the best and getting the highest level of care across the board, period.
Ben, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, you would think that when it comes to these players, they would make sure that they got the best playing surface there is. It should never ever be about the surface. You got 32 stadiums that should have the best surface possible made. It shouldn't even be allowed for them to play on anything other than that. And the fact that you got to take it if you take it out of the hands of these teams, what were they doing? Like, what are we doing? They need to have, like, to the point where they can't get it wrong. That's, I mean, look, most people ain't allowed to walk on grass like this. You see this? This is what the players play on. They get 17 opportunities a year to go out there and put the best foot forward. And you mean to tell me we still dealing with MetLife is just, I mean, I really don't get it. You don't want to have that distinction and it be at the exact same spot for the same type of play. It's crazy. So yeah, the NFL, you're still even in the midst of some of these star players going out, you still racking in all this money. I mean, I don't even want to talk about how many people watch Kansas City versus Dallas on Thanksgiving. You look at all so you're gonna get that. And you shouldn't want to be any other way. It's like if I got the number one, I don't know, steakhouse in the country, it's a reason why. Oh man, find this. Oh yeah, we only do it like this. Like every single steak is this. So I hope that the NFL understands that you keep on letting this type of stuff happen. The players that run the NFL gonna start getting hurt. We talk about the quarterbacks. See, those are the ones that make that shift the needle. If you don't believe me, back when Peyton Manning missed the whole season because he had nerve damage in his neck, He ain't even play. You can't hit the quarterback high. When Tom Brady missed the whole season for a torn ACL, you can't hit the quarterback low. So if you don't think, and they're saying before we get to that, because they look at what's coming. They look at what Bo Nix is doing. They look at, what Sam Darnold is doing, right? They're looking at what some of these younger quarterbacks are doing, and they're looking at what Drake May is doing. Dude, you can't afford for these guys to go out, and nobody touched them. Now, if they get hurt because somebody hit them, that's different. If ain't nobody touch them, that's surface problem. In 2025, that's embarrassing. We got surface issues with the top 32 stadiums in the country. They have to be the top 32 because they're the only professional stadiums in football in the country. Come on. And the reason why they take it out of the hands of these teams, because some of these teams, they cheap as hell. They are cheap. And they always trying to save money. So that's what they're really saying. You know what? We're going to take it out of y'all hands because y'all cheap. Browns, Cincinnati. If Cincinnati charged their former greats to pay for their own flights and the hotel accommodations, you think they weren't about the surface? Well, they got grass. No, man, this ain't Pop Warner, right? Buford, Georgia got the number one team in the country. They spent $65 million on their football facility. They're the number one team in the country. A high school team in Georgia can spend $65 million on a football alone facility, and MetLife won't get real grass. Come on, man. I know dirt with green paint painted on it when I see it. Come on, man. That's ridiculous. Let's do better. We'll see if is it gonna keep people from getting hurt? Probably not. But can it prevent more injuries? Only time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, we've kind of, we've already been on this. They say player safety is the most important part. You've been touched on a lot of these teams, owners, etc. Just that they don't want to put the money into the maintenance of it and stuff like that. I get it to a point, but this, like we talk about, this is a multi-billion-dollar organizations here. The NFL as a whole. So would like to see the same quality. It doesn't matter where we go now. I mean, I remember, what was it, 98? We had a game canceled here in Philadelphia because Brian Billick was like, look, there's seams on the field that I can literally slide my whole foot in. I'm not having my guys play out here, and they canceled the game. And guess what? The first thing Jeffrey Lurie did after that, I'm losing sales for this game. We need to build Lincoln Financial Field. You haven't heard a peep about how bad the playing surface is in Philadelphia since then. If you're the team owner, you should take pride in the fact that you have one of the best player surfaces, and that injuries they do happen, but they don't happen at a high regularly because how terrible your playing surfaces are. So I'm glad that they take it out of their hand, but I just want to make sure that it's not with companies that the NFL has a partnership with that they're just gonna make money off of. It should be the highest quality surfaces, regardless if we're talking turf or grass. It should be the best. It shouldn't be you're trying to stop and you're sliding another 5 feet sideways when a player's trying to make a cut. So glad to see it. Unfortunately, we're gonna get into some injuries. And Daniel Jones, man, this is rough. He was dealing with a broken leg, ruptured his Achilles, but bringing a unique situation because now we got Grandpa Mr. Phillip Rivers is coming back to the Indianapolis Colts. He's only on the practice squad right now. I know a lot of people got their arms up in the air, like, why is this happening? Why are they bringing in Phil Rivers? And I'm gonna quote Mr. JJ Watt here because the reason why they brought him in is because Phil was using the same offense for his son's football team, and him and Shane Steichen have been talking on a regular basis about plays, about film. So there's a familiarity that right there, and I think that's more one of the reasons why that you're seeing Phil come out of retirement and being signed to the practice squad over, bringing any one of these other former quarterbacks or current guys back in. A lot of people are complaining like, oh, well, does that make him ineligible for the Hall of Fame now? Because this is his first year of eligibility because he's been retired for 5 years. I don't think that's a thing on his mind. You've seen a lot of comments from former players and stuff like that. You even seen Sean Merriman say like, "Hey, I got 20 plays left in me. If Phil's going back out there, tell the Colts to give me a call. I want to get back out there too, play with my guy again." So I think it's interesting to see that one that Phil's the guy that they call. And two, what do you guys think about this? We'll start off with Ben. Phillip Rivers coming back to the Indianapolis Colts.
Well, shout out to the 04 draft class, man. Me and Phil got drafted together back in 04. He was the 4th overall pick. Happy for Phil. This says two things. One, the quarterback situation in Indy is a mess because they don't know when Anthony Richardson. I think he's still dealing with some ailing injuries, and the Colts front office knows, or the Colts head coaches know this saves my job no matter what happens. So I'm bringing a 44-year-old guy that was sitting at the crib. Whatever he does is the bonus. Now they can find a way to win this division. That'll be crazy, but Phillip Rivers is a grandfather. One of his kids has had a kid. And here's the thing: when you say, "quote," we ran this offense in high school, you dumbed it down. You ran it, but you didn't run it like they running it with the Colts. Like when people hear that, oh, so you telling me they making checks at the line? No, they're in the spread. Your son clapping his hands together, they get in the rock. That's what they run in high school. But Phillip Rivers is a guy that's never ever, not been a guy that can run any offense. I mean, he could throw that thing. That's what he was known for, throwing the rock, facilitating these offenses. But that ain't Antonio Gates. Now I like Warren. He ain't Antonio Gates. That ain't Jonathan Taylor. I mean, he ain't LaDainian Tomlinson, but he pretty freaking good. So we'll see what he does. When it came up that Phillip Rivers, I said Phillip Rivers. I mean, Phillip Rivers older than most of these coaches in the NFL now. It used to be, and Mike Tomlin didn't even know that Phillip Rivers was actually getting a shot because they said a reporter asked him, "So if your 42-year-old quarterback can play, 44-year-old Phillip Rivers," he said, "Wait a minute, Phillip Rivers is playing football?" Like, yeah. He said, Mike Tomlin, I have no comment on that. I do not care. We are worried about what's going on with Pittsburgh. So I'm rooting for Phillip Rivers for a lot of reasons. But yeah, once he steps out there on the field, his eligibility starts over. So it got to be 5 years removed from your last snap. But that's a crazy conversation, though, right? Like, you see a Indianapolis area code pop up on your phone. You like, hello? Like, hey, Phillip, listen, man. We just going. The fact that he could pass a physical says a lot about him. And I'm rooting for him, man. I mean, Phil is a year older than me, man. So, it's like, dude, I couldn't imagine. If they call my phone, they got the wrong number. Man, my fault. We're trying to call Phil.
Ben, did he pass the conditioning test too, you think?
No. They didn't do that. That was one of those. Hey man, can I do I got to run though? No. We just go. Come on. Well, they probably can you give us like a gas to like over and back like under 25 seconds? Yeah. Under 25? Yeah. But you know what? Look. I mean, think about it though, Marvin. If they calling you at 44 years old, I mean, I got some stipulations too now. Like, how much practice do I got to do? Or how much film do I got to? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I mean, if you are Phillip Rivers, though, man, he shows the importance of the quarterback position and how much he and for those who don't know, Phil has been there before. Now, like Phil played for the Colts before when he left. What happened? I got some freaking stuff all over my freaking camera here. So yeah, so it's I'm happy for him, man. We'll see what happens. But Marvin, if he had to pass a conditioning test, what kind of conditioning test? Like what are they asking him to do? Is it the Albert Haynesworth conditioning test where I'm just running? I ain't really trying to make the time, or
is it a conditioning test where they're just trying to make sure his heart isn't going to explode if he plays?
Oh yeah, they'll say, listen, we're gonna go on. We're gonna simulate a 10-play drive to where you got to get outside the pocket. Do I get to call a timeout? Yeah, you got all 3 timeouts. Okay, well, let's start out with a timeout right now. Let's just before we even start. No, look, he passed the physical. He's on the team. The story of Phillip Rivers If Phillip Rivers can do the unthinkable in 2025 and get this Colts team back to the top of that division and win it, oh, this is going to be a great story, man. I mean, he's already in the Hall of Fame. This will solidify it. We'll see what happens, but Phillip Rivers got a lot of kids, man. We got like 11, 12.
Yeah, he got a lot. That's probably what it's more about. He just wanted to see what those checks are going to look like if he plays the rest of the season.
But I'm just saying, man. He don't miss. He don't miss.
Yeah, right. Marvin, what's your thoughts on this one?
You know, when I hear this, the first thing I think to myself is people have to understand the NFL is really a young man's game. That's a young man's game. You know what I'm saying? And at 44, the thing about it is he knows what it is. Phil knows exactly what he's getting into. You know, and it's a situation where you hope that his body isn't really further down the line than he realizes, and he gets out there with them young boys. But that's why he's on the practice squad first. They're gonna put him out there. He'll get some reps in practice, obviously. They're one game out of first place. I mean, they're still in it. You know what I mean? So they doing what they can to show their team and just to try to win out here, win some games. With Phillip, I think his mind is probably there. He'll adapt to a degree to the speed of the game real quick. He's been out of it for a minute, playing with these high school kids. You know, my thing is how those hips really, how those knees really, how those ankles really. You know what I'm saying? Maybe listen, this dude may have been rehabbing this whole time, taking care of himself, getting his body back in balance. You know what I'm saying? So I'm rooting for him. I've always been a fan of Phil, how he's played the game, how he represents himself as a player. And because he was never a super athletic freak, this is a guy who had to rely on other skills, and I think those skills still benefit him to this day, just playing the game upstairs. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But I'm rooting for this dude, and like everybody else, let's see what it looks like. Let's see what it really looks like. Let's
see what it looks like. We got
if he's giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor,
Jonathan Taylor about to be featured. It ain't gonna be.
He can do that. He can do that.
So let's see what we can squeeze in here. 5 more topics over the next 33 minutes. Let's see if we can squeeze this all in here. Now, obviously, we're going to stick on the quarterback because there's a few things, and we are going to stick on the injury side of things. Robert Griffin III had something to say after the 31-0 blowout down there. Against the Vikings, and Jaden Daniels did try to come back out there and play again this past week, and threw an interception, re-aggravated the injured elbow. Do you agree with Robert Griffin's comments here that obviously we all know Jaden Daniels is a warrior, and he's the leader of that team, and he wants to be out there and help them win. Being the fact that they're eliminated from the playoffs, I do not think they should give Jaden Daniels a single snap the last 4 weeks of the season. There's no reason for it. There's no need for it. There's nothing. I know a lot of these guys are playing for pride. They want to show that they're the ultimate professional, but I have to agree with Robert here. It was egregious just to put him out there in the first place, being the fact that he re-aggravated that already injured elbow that he dislocated a few weeks ago. I don't want to see him back out there. Let's start off with Marvin on this one.
You know something? I really listen. I know this guy was a good player in high school. Obviously, won the Heisman, was great at ASU, then LSU. And as a rookie played phenomenal, but I genuinely have concerns for his play style and his body type. I don't like it in the NFL. I don't. You've already seen a couple of injuries, and listen, typically when you're getting injuries this young at that position, that keeps happening. From what I've seen, that just keeps happening. I hate to keep him out of games if he's actually healthy, because I think at the end of the day, I mean, you want to. You're looking at culture, but he's a franchise guy. He's getting hurt. I don't see a lot of reason to play this guy. If anything, I think I don't know if it's the play calling or if he needs to just be told to limit himself in regards to what he's doing out there on the field for as much as he's exposing himself. But there needs to be change with him, I believe. I think whether he gets bigger, stronger, a little more weight, I have concerns about his longevity. I do. So as I talk through this and I think through it, No, they should not play him at all. Because I can see this kid, he plays hard. He plays a physical game. He runs, he dives. I mean, he plays like he's Cam Newton sometimes, and he's not. You know what I'm saying? And them defenders out there, if you running the ball and you're not protected in a protected position, these boys trying to knock your head off. This is a grown man's business out there. Them dudes out, you got DBs out there benching 400 pounds. You know what I mean? Squatting 400 pounds. This is so. No, they shouldn't play him. He needs to sit and. Again, they need to figure something out with this guy, man, because I'm afraid these injuries are going to keep piling up for this guy.
Ben, your thoughts? Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, and that offensive line ain't the best either. They know that. So a guy like Jaden Daniels is RG3 should have told him it's not a matter of if, but when. When they catch you, yeah, they trying to lay the wood to you. You a problem. You know what you do with a problem? I get rid of it. And the thing about Jaden Daniels is he has a silky smooth game, right? His game is real smooth. He does everything real smooth, real effortless. But when they hit him, they trying to – and if I know we're not going anywhere and I'm trying to make sure that our franchise quarterback is protected for future years, why is he in there? For what? And Marcus Mariota is a good enough backup. Jaden Daniels don't got to prove anything to anybody. You don't know what type of coach Dan Quinn is now because you ain't making the best decision for your franchise player. You got him out there looking crazy, and I know it's a lot closer to home to RG3 because he going back to his days in Washington with Jay Gruden and how they didn't take care of him. And for people saying, is it the job of a coach to protect his quarterback? Yes, absolutely, yep. And if you are the Commanders, you're saying. We have a opportunity. Everybody said was Jaden Daniels will take a step back in 2025. And I said, yes, not because he's a bad player, because the team around him don't make sure he take a step back. I mean, dislocated elbow, and you back out there. What you think defender's gonna do? A defender is paid to just get right at that nagging injury. They're gonna swipe at it, hit at it, punch at it. They're trying to make sure. We all walking wounded in the NFL. All of us ain't on the injury report. But if you come on that injury report and I see where you injured, oh, okay. I know what to attack. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to say that Dan Quinn is trying to do his best to try to, put him in there, but trying to help him. But what can you do if Jaden Daniels is the most important player on the Washington Commanders? He ain't the only player. There's a bunch of players out there walking wounded. There's a bunch of players hurt. So they say, look, man, if you got to do it, they got to do it. Sometimes we pay you to go out there. And that offensive line, I think it's ranked like 20 or something. They ain't got a good O-line. So he's going to get hit. Now it's how often he gets hit and where they hit him at. Because Jaden Daniels is built real similar to like a Lamar Jackson. They built real similar. You got to find out. The NFL, man, you better get you some steak and some potatoes, young man. You better start eating some peanut butter. You're going to have to get bigger than that because you ain't going to make it. Because RG3 was Rookie of the Year, right? RG3 took the NFL by storm, right? And you know who caught him? Haloti Nada. That's who caught him. A 350-pound D tackle. His legs swung around. He was never, ever the same player. So, hey, man, get you some vegetables in your system, youngin. You're going to need them because I know you want to be slim like a model, but you play football. So we'll see.
And sticking on the quarterback position, what happened in the Cleveland Browns and Tennessee Titans game? First and foremost, Shedeur, was starting to show signs of why a lot of people were very high on him. He's the only quarterback in NFL history, let alone the Browns, with a 300-plus yard passing game, 3 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdowns in the same game since 1950. So basically, since modern day NFL, Super Bowl, etc., he's the only rookie to ever do that. That being said, first off, obviously, congrats to Shedeur, on the amazing performance. Outduels the number 1 overall pick in Cam Ward in the same process, but we need to talk about Kevin Stefanski because what he did at the end of that game is the most boneheaded, egregious thing I could think you could ever do to a quarterback's confidence, to your team. A lot of fans were calling for an investigation, thinking that he's just purposely trying to blow this game. The first 2-point conversion, you go out there and miss, I get it. But then after Anthony Shador drives him down on the field, scores another touchdown. Then you go for it again, but you take him off the field. It's like you don't believe in your guy. You're running a trick play. How do you think it's going to work if you don't have your quarterback out there on the field? If you don't have your starting quarterback out in the field, they already going to know something's up. You can try some type of trick play, and the play they called, the execution was terrible. The play itself was terrible, and they lose the football game. Bravo to Shador for when they were asking the questions about it. He didn't throw his coach under the bus. He was very complimentary of Kevin Stefanski, as you would expect from Shador Sanders. But man, how do you continue to keep this guy around here at point in time? You obviously know Shador, Shador and Deshaun Watson are going to be going at it next offseason for the number one quarterback position in Cleveland. But the question is do you keep Kevin Stefanski around knowing how he's trying to undermine this quarterback right here? Let's start off with Ben on this. Obviously, me and you talked about a lot about Shador Sanders this offseason. Now we're starting to see him shine, and you're seeing stuff like this. How's that making you feel when you're looking at this, Ben?
It lets me know that Kevin Stefanski might not be this coach that everybody thinks he is. This is the same Kevin Stefanski that a year after, I want to say that Baker Mayfield won that division and beat Pittsburgh, they traded him the next year. This is the same Kevin Stefanski. People say, well, if he got hired, somebody will hire him in a minute. The job of a head coach is to put my quarterback in the best position to not only win games but build confidence. You ain't doing either. What you take him out the game for? You ain't never done that. Think about this. You've never done that. There's never been a quarterback that you took him out in game time situations. For what? So let me get this straight. Brock Purdy is the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. They are playing the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. It is 4th and 6 and 4th and goal to go, and you kick the field goal. You're not even going to try to go for we're going to kick the field goal to be safe. They give it back to Patrick Mahomes? Yeah. Who won that Super Bowl? Well, that's Patrick Mahomes. A quarterback said, look, I only build confidence by putting me in situations. So what you taking me out for? Look at a young Shador Sanders trying to protect this coach because he knows I still got an NFL future. As much as this man is doing to me for the world to see, I still got to be professional. Shador Sanders has been accused of a lot of things. It's never been not being able to play football. We've seen it. Saw it at Jackson State, saw it at Colorado. He could play. That's never been a problem. He's so influential that when the Tennessee Titans are getting turnovers or whatever, why they going up there with their wrist up? Oh, so they even know the Shador. They even know this the Shador. That's how popular he is. So I'm not surprised that Shador Sanders had even the owner coming up to freaking Prime Coach Prime. How you doing, Prime man? He had a good 12, had a good one today. He got the lie because we know how you really feel. I've never seen a situation like this. Owner didn't want him. GM didn't want him. Head coach didn't want him. But now, but you drafted him. Love Dylan Gabriel, but you went and got Shador in the 5th, and you got Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd. Shador Sanders is going to thrive in the National Football League because I think his daddy has took him through the gauntlet and said, look, let me show you everything you could possibly go through. That way when you go through it, you handle it with stride. We're watching the Browns because of one guy. And I love him, but you ain't watching the Browns because of it. You watch him because of Shador. That's what superstars do. They make you want to watch. Why did you watch Carolina? Who they had? They had this dude named King. Have you watched the Jackson State game lately? No, you haven't. Have you watched the Colorado game lately? No, you haven't. So I'm happy that the young man is still thriving in the midst of a chaotic situation. And if you are the owner of the Browns, you got to make a decision. Do I want to have a head coach that is proven to be insubordinate because we pay you to make, grown people decisions in crunch time, and that's stupid. I mean, even the Titans fans are like, what are you doing when he was coming out? It's weird. But the Cleveland Browns are a bad franchise because they don't hire well and they don't make decisions well. That's why they are who they are. But if you are Shador, he's trying to make the best of a bad situation. I think he's doing a good job, and I will continue to watch him. Look at them. Listen, look at them jersey sales. Look at that viewership when it comes to the Browns when Shador Sanders is on the field.
Marvin, your thoughts on Shador's performance and what's going on behind the scenes?
Well, first of all, listen, and just kind of piggybacks on Ben here a little bit. Have we ever seen an NFL rookie quarterback have so much drama and adversity in media, craziness in the media. Yet this kid handles himself so well, in all situations. You haven't seen this kid really have meltdowns. You don't see him attacking people, pointing fingers, making excuses. All you hear from this kid is this, light laughter, turning crazy questions into simple jokes. But talking about accountability in his faith and leadership. And man, listen, all the things that Deion has taught this kid, emotional intelligence, confidence, leadership, all that's being represented at the podium every time I see Shedeur. What we're watching is what probably should have been the number 1 overall draft pick. That's what we're watching, is a kid explode and have explosive plays on a team who hasn't had any all year. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden you put him in there, the ball's going down the field. He's leading a team in rushing, 20-yard gains. I mean, listen, with Stefanski, the unfortunate reality is, he's a head coach, former head coach of the year, but with human beings, you deal with feelings, man. And I think there's some ego. I first had an issue with that head coach when after Shedeur's first win, he didn't give him a game ball. No, and he didn't lead off the conversation in the press conference saying congratulations or good job by our rookie quarterback. He was like 5 minutes in before he even acknowledged anything, if at all. So that's when I really realized there's an issue here. You know what I'm saying? First rookie in I don't know how many years for the Browns to win their starting game, and you don't give them a game ball, and you don't lead the press conference off at that when you've had a horrible season, and this is a win, and it's a reason to celebrate, and it's a way to bring the fans together and say, hey, we may have a future. Ego's a real thing, y'all. Feelings is a real thing. When you're dealing with these professionals, don't forget, they human beings too. They catch feelings too. You know what I'm saying? So Shedeur Sanders is balling. All he's done his whole life is ball out. He balled in high school. He balled in Jackson State. He balled in Colorado, and he's balling for the Browns. People, this is what it is. And he handles all of it with grace. And he's grace and maturity. So this kid has a bright future. One of the brightest, most emotionally intelligent young quarterbacks we've ever seen. Ever. You can go to any of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one has handled the moment like Shedeur, in my opinion. So, man, I'm a huge fan. All he's doing is making plays, and all he will do is get better.
And you were talking about the emotional intelligence. Remember, Jerry Jeudy was having a full meltdown on the sideline with them. Yeah. Not this week, but last week.
Right.
And didn't get a typical response that you would see when guys are coming at you like that. All he did was just took what he said.
He just looked at him. When Jerry Jeudy was doing it, Shedeur was looking at Jerry Jeudy like, dude, like, you want to go viral this bad? Like he goes. Exactly. I should have did you like this 2 weeks ago when you jumping up in the air and getting fumbles. That was supposed to be my big. But once again, Shedeur Sanders knows this. You know what taught him he's always being watched? His brother. Yeah. Bucky following him around. You got to think they doing this all the time. So what you go?
But like I said, look, you see, it didn't bother him at all because the big bomb this week was the Jerry Jeudy. So listen,
Jerry Judy's not in a position to be. Listen, Jerry Jeudy, why didn't you do that when you was over there in Denver? Why didn't you do that when you first got to Cleveland? Look, man, no. Shedeur told him when they went in the locker room, hey, bro, don't do that again. Like, come on, man. Like, really? I get it, you mad. Man, we got all this demonstrative. You can talk to me. You can just talk to me like I'm talking to you. Because if we keep it in a buck, you ain't him like that. You a good player, Jerry Jeudy. Now, come on, man. Because when you had a chance to talk trash to Steve Smith Sr., you ain't have a lot to say. You just was jumping around behind him. You ain't like.
So 16 minutes. We got 3 more topics I want to get to. We'll get to baseball right now. I want to skip over this last football one. If we can get it at the end, we get it at the end. But need to talk baseball, need to talk the Hall of Fame right now. Obviously, the news came out over the last few days of who the Hall of Famers were. Now, second baseman Jeff Kent gets in. He is the only player elected to Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame this year. The committee inducted him. He's going to be in July. Barry Bonds doesn't get in. Roger Clemens doesn't get in. Don Mattingly doesn't get in. Dale Murphy doesn't get in. All did not have sufficient votes. Now, let me point out, Jeff Kent was a very good player. He was a NL MVP one year. He had some 377 home runs. He is the 2025 inductee. We already know Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds deserves to be in, but the fact that Dale Murphy still isn't in, that Don Mattingly still isn't in. Dale Murphy had, if you look at his numbers in the 80s, there's only one player that had more RBIs in him than the 80s. Well, that was Eddie Murray. Eddie Murray, who's he? Oh, he's a Hall of Famer. There's only one player that had more home runs than Dale Murphy in the 80s. Oh, that was Mike Schmidt. Obviously we all know who Mike Schmidt is, first ballot Hall of Famer, all that good stuff, right? So why is Dale Murphy still not in? Why is Don Mattingly still in? We already know why the baseball writers are keeping Barry Bonds out and keeping Roger Clemens out, which is absolutely disgusting. But we've talked about it on here. You have a logjam of players that absolutely have the numbers in. And we were just talking about feelings, right? Well, I think these writers, these baseball writers that have all the control of this, are in their feelings. They want to act like they're, they mean something. That stuff like all that stuff. There's a time and place for all that. These guys deserve their time. The fact that you have one stinking player going into the Hall of Fame, the whole thing needs to be thrown out now. The whole process needs to be thrown out, started over, clean slate. Get these writers out of here. I've had enough of it. Look, and it's not a disrespect to Jeff Kent in any way, shape, or form. This is the writers, the people that are voting these guys in. I don't know if you change the percentages that these guys need to get in, or what, or not have these writers being hold this much power on keeping these guys in or out. Something has to change here. Because one guy out of the list that were potentially get in is it's a rough one for me to swallow. I mean, I don't have a horse in this race. There's not a single Phillies player that I feel. Well, maybe there's one that I think they could probably have the argument, because Jeff Kent got in. Now that I think I have an argument for Chase Utley to potentially get in, but. I'm going to start off with Ben on there. I mean, obviously, we already know how you feel. Andrew Jones is long overdue. You have your guy that you say should be in. What are your thoughts on this, man? How do you change this? What would you go about doing to change to kind of fix all this? Because it's a mess. It's another.
You're gonna have to have current Hall of Famers have some input, and have some vote, and have some impact. Everybody can't handle power. And these baseball writers, they know they got all the power. And their feelings are involved. They're not voting with their eyes. They're not voting with what the player did. They know that my feelings are involved. You cannot justify Dale Murphy not being in. You cannot. You can't. You talking about a two-time NL MVP? You talking about 5-time Golden Glove winner? 398 home runs. Man, Barry Bonds not being in the MLB Hall of Fame makes it so that it's a joke. That makes it a joke. People hate Barry Bonds. Okay. Take away his second career. His first career, he's still a Hall of Famer. Before all the allegations, he's still a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's a home run king. I'm still okay, cool. But I'm gonna give it to Hank Aaron. Okay, cool. Baseball is a joke for this reason, man. Baseball is already a game that is lacking because your best player ain't even American, and there's nothing wrong with that. Number two, you don't know how to cater to your fans. Number two, you don't know how to cater to your demographic. And number three, you only want to be comfortable with a bunch of people. Wow. There is nothing more outdated than the people who write about baseball to vote who gets in. Well, you're showing that your lack of insight is clouding your mind. So it's Baseball Hall of Fame. It ain't even worth talking about. I mean, Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame. Like, stop the nonsense. It's baseball, man. That baseball has a reality problem. They've been had it. They don't know how to cater to people. They have the worst commissioner in sports. He is the worst. I'm done.
Yep. Yeah. Marvin, your thoughts on this? Obviously, me and Ben got a lot of horses in this race. We're very passionate about this. What are your thoughts on this one, brother?
Baseball ain't my bag, but I did grow up in LA and New York, and the Dodgers and the Yankees are my baseball teams. I remember when Don Mattingly hit 6 grand slams in 1 year when I was a kid. We thought that was huge. The fact that he's had the career he has the numbers he has, and he did it while on the Yankees, that in itself, I mean, sincerely should put him in the Hall of Fame.
Not just on the Yankees. It wasn't even the good Yankees. He
missed it. He missed the whole championship run.
Yeah,
he wasn't a part of that. He was 2 years. I think he retired a year or two before their first championship with Jeter, which sucks. You hate that, but he was a dog out there. He was a high impact player. As one of the guys has posted, I mean, take away Eddie Murray, the best first baseman of the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Yeah. Eddie has it right. So no doubt about it, man. What's happening with Donnie baseball is tragic. The day he gets in will be a great day for baseball as well as the New York Yankees organization. He deserves that.
Yeah, he definitely does. Listen, Ben's Troupe's on it, and they're going to find out real soon. We're going to talk about it next week. About the baseball's got a real problem looming, and they need to get ahead of it now. And it's not just with the Hall of Fame voting. They got a lot of questions surrounding the league right now. They have to address it very soon. They have a lot of problems going on. It's going to be bad for them if they do not get ahead of it right now. So I'm going to leave it at that. We'll get to that next week. We're talking about it a lot over the last few weeks about where the potential landing spots of Kyle Schwarber. He had a lot of suitors, offer contracts. He does wind up coming back here to Philadelphia. 5 years, $150 million for a 32-year-old Kyle Schwarber, who, for all intents and purposes, him and Bryce Harper hasn't delivered here in Philadelphia over the last 3 years. I think they're going to have to make trades to kind of improve this roster. Yes, they won 96 baseball games last season with dealing with multiple injuries and multiple different positions. I get all that, but I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Let's start off with Marvin. Do you think a 5 years, $150 million contract for 32-year-old Kyle Schwarber is an overpay for the Philadelphia Phillies?
Listen, in a day and age where we are so advanced in sports science, and you're seeing guys, Phillip Rivers, playing at 44, Brady did what he did. Baseball is a physical sport, man. Those guys, it ain't basketball and it's not football for sure. But those guys, they take a pounding. It's weird, but they do. 32 years old, 150 mil. I mean, obviously they believe in this dude, and it's a situation where, again, if he can stay healthy, stay productive, it makes sense. In baseball, that's not. I mean, that's not. Ohtani has changed the whole game in regards to the numbers and how we look at money. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say it's chump change, but if it ends up being an okay deal for them, it's probably a good deal.
Ben, your thoughts? Kyle Schwarber returning to Philadelphia, 32 years old, 5 years, $150 million. How you feeling, brother?
I respect it. The year he had last year, you knew the team was coming for him. The Orioles thought they had it too. They were like, God, because they matched it. No, Kyle did his thing last year. And look, baseball is the type of sport to where you reward players as they get older and they play. But some guys play much better as they get older. Kyle Schwarber had a banner year last year. And Bryce Harper loved the fact he's coming back because Kyle kind of takes some of that attention away from Bryce. And you want that. Is Kyle Schwarber the superstar Bryce Harper is? No. Now, last year he was. So, yeah, I'm happy for him. And like I said, age of superstars in baseball is normal. They still rare as well. They rare and normal at the same time. But, yeah, Kyle, he did his thing in 2025. You know me, I don't like to speak, glowingly of these fields. I see what you're doing, Steve. You got me speaking glowingly of these Phillies. It's not allowed in this division. But he did his thing in 2025. He got his money. And hopefully he can continue. I think Marvin make a great point. I mean, the way sports science has definitely changed the game and analytics and how they break players down. It's not Moneyball by no means. No, Kyle went out there and did his thing. And then he did have 4 home runs against the team. I don't really want to talk about that day, but he did his thing in 2025.
And the other thing we got to think about is he's the DH too, so he's not out there playing the outfield. All he really has to do is worry about getting bat the ball, and that's where my only issue is right now is because those bats have been disappearing in October the last few years. you can say whatever you want about it. I want to see more from my Phillies. Hopefully, they do make some more moves to improve the team. I still feel that you still have to resign a JT Realmuto. I'm still gonna be on that bandwagon, but want to get into this last topic right here as we got the last few minutes here, so that we can all touch on this. Obviously, Dallas's loss last week to Detroit was a big one. And it gave us another topic to wind up talking about. Richard Sherman was very, very, very critical of George Pickens, looking like he was, wasn't playing from whistle to whistle. There was a couple plays he had chances to get balls. It looked like he just pulled up and came up short on it. And both Richard Sherman and George Pickens had some words via social media. Basically, George basically said, he hasn't done enough to warrant a response for me, but George Pickens had a whole lot to say about Richard Sherman, a bunch of expletives thrown in there as well. I don't feel like George really needed to address what Richard said. Like there's 202 NFL analysts that used to be former players, and not every one of them is going to be giving us glowing remarks. He knows the type of player he was. I think it was telling to who George is as a person as he is right now. We were just talking about emotional intelligence that we're seeing out of Shedeur Sanders. I think George could use a little bit of it right here. I'm going to start off with Marvin on this one. What are your thoughts on George and Richard going at it?
And even though they probably regret it a little bit, you kind of see why he's probably not in Pittsburgh anymore, right? Just this immaturity, and you don't want that, man. It's one of those things where you hope these young guys grow out of it. When you draft these guys, you interview them and you hear about them from their teammates and other coaches, so you get an idea as to what you're getting. So you hope you can kind of stay with the team long enough to kind of work through that. Mike T said, "Nah, you got to go." Listen, and in Dallas, he been balling this year. That boy been making plays. I don't know if he's in a position to really talk to Sherman the way he is. I think I don't even know what Sherman said, but I'm assuming it was something just being analytical. Analysis of the guy, and he was just being objective. And a lot of these guys, they can't handle that. They can't handle someone being objective and not just saying it sweet and putting sugar all over it. They can't handle. They're not really built for that. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, to be honest with you. To be a professional, you've watched these pros your whole life respond to stuff. You've seen these pros get up there, say the right thing, do the right thing. But you're gonna get up there and just act out and you cussing on social media and you attacking. A all-pro, ex-champ, future Hall of Famer. I mean, it's weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird that you coming at this dude like this, like you've done enough to even warrant toward that kind of response. So, listen, I like how Sherman responded to it, putting facts over feelings. This is my numbers. This is my stats. This is who I am in this game. This is what I've done. I'm with that. My man needs to grow up, though. The receiver for Dallas needs to grow up. George needs to grow up. Someone needs to talk to him. I'm sure they have been talking to him for a couple of years now, but he needs to do better in these situations and just learn how to be a professional when you handle these, when you handle this fair analysis of your game and of your situation.
All right, Ben, your thoughts. Quick minute.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate what Richard Sherman said, and the thing about George Pickens and these youngest, man, they think they're the latest and greatest. If Richard Sherman is in the league, he's covering you. He's right in front of you. You're talking about a 3-time first-team All-Pro, a 2-time second-team All-Pro, and he was a second-team All-Pro in 2019 with the San Francisco 49ers. He's talking about all you guys, the Legion of Boom. So even you, George, know about the Legion of Boom. What you mean that's all he got? That's all he needs. What? George, you need to start. You talking to a superstar, future Hall of Famer. So, yeah, I like the way Richard did it, man. Richard, keep doing your thing. And just because I don't do it, I don't mean I wasn't him when I did do it. George, what are you talking about? You don't even want a response, and then you give a response. So what are you talking? Stop being disrespectful to the guys that did their thing in the league. We know about Seattle because of Legion Boom, Beast Mode, Carroll, and freaking Russell Wilson. So yeah, I like the way he handled it though. Can't sugarcoat it.
Okay. Final thoughts are for today's episode. Let's start off with Marvin.
Final thoughts. Like I said, I don't want it. I don't like it. But I think them Oregon Ducks about to make some noise. I think this is their year. I believe it. I think Kirby Smart is the head of the class right now, but I think them Ducks got something that a lot of people haven't seen. I watched it up close. They beat my Trojans by, I think, 15, something like that. And, the game was closer than it seemed, but them Ducks is real, y'all.
Right.
Be on the lookout.
All right, Ben, you got 10 seconds, brother.
Kurt Signetti got a whole bunch of his players from JMU. A lot of those players that currently play for Indiana, he took them from JMU. Just know that.
See you guys.